What is going on, everybody? It's your guy Alec, Elijah, and we're back again with another mock draft Monday. And we had a great week of college football, great week of NFL football. We definitely seen some changes in the NFL draft that we're going to get into in a bit here. But be sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you're new. Again, if you're always tuning in, I always appreciate. Make sure you guys leave some comments below as well. I appreciate everybody's feedback from the last video. We were able to get a lot of comments going. So again, it does help me boost the algorithm. But let's get into this mock draft Monday where we see my Patriots take first in this year's NFL draft. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm a little excited right now that we have the one pick. I don't know how long we're going to have the one pick because they were trying their hearts out against the Titans. But I think it's safe to say right now that New England is going to have a top 5 pick, which I'm actually excited for. But as always, we're going to get into this draft. No trades are going to be made because, of course, they're just always hard to predict. And it just takes away from some of the fun right now, to be completely honest. We might get into some trades when we do some of the divisional mock drafts that I'm going to get into this week, actually. We're going to be having, I believe, I don't know yet. I might do the NFC West or the AFC West. So let me know in the comments below what you guys would want to see first. With that being said, though, let's start this draft. And just like the previous ones, I still think Travis Hunter is the number one draft pick in this class. I think he's the number one athlete available in this draft. Whether he plays wide receiver, whether he plays corner, I think he can excel at either positions. Playing for a team like New England could give you the option to potentially play both. I've seen a couple people talking about, well, we don't really need a CB1. No, we don't. We have Christian Gonzalez, which is why I think Travis would be a perfect counterpart for Christian Gonzalez, and we still get to use Trav in the slot. Now, again, if you watched some of my earlier videos, you know I was super against Trav even playing both positions in the NFL. But his motor is just, it's undeniable at this point. Like, I really think he can play both positions in the NFL, something that we haven't seen before. We're starting to see a lot of athletes that we really haven't seen before, like we just seen with Shohei Ohtani. I'm not saying baseball and football are the complete same, but we're seeing stuff that we haven't seen before, and Travis Hunter could be the next athlete that really takes over the game, playing both positions, not just in the college football realm, but in the NFL realm as well. Getting into the Jaguars, and I think it's pretty safe to say you got Will Johnson or you got Will Campbell. You can take either or. It depends if you want to beef up your offensive line or you want to beef up your secondary. Secondary, I'm going to be super honest. Jags stinks. Trenches, though, not as bad as the secondary, but at the same time, you want to protect both of your franchise weapons with your running back and your quarterback. I think I said that last video as well. I touched on it, and I'm still in the same boat there. I think Jacksonville needs to be looking at a guy like Will Campbell who can play both guard and tackle, projected to play guard at the next level. But again, it gives you that versatility so you can play him at either or the guard or tackle. Getting into the Saints, it says guard and defensive line, but let's be honest here. The Saints need a quarterback. Like, it's been very bad quarterback play this season. And I don't think it's going to get any better. You're running through a quarterback carousel right now of essentially Derek Carr, Spencer Rattler, and Jake Haener. It doesn't sound too appealing, and I'm going to be honest, there's about 2 quarterbacks that I would start over those 3 right now. And that's going to be Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. Now, it's really going to come down to who the Saints feel fits their scheme better. They have the talent there. I mean, Kamara's still got some juice in the tank. The wide receiver tandem is there for them to utilize. The defense is there for sure. I mean, they're probably going to lose a couple guys to trades, but in terms of youth, like, they have guys there that are going to be there for the next 2 to 3 years ready to play. And I think you have to go after a quarterback here. This is going to be my personal preference. I would really like to see Shedeur Sanders in New Orleans. I think he would do really well with Shaheed and Chris Olave. And again, you have the offensive line there as well to go with it. Alvin Kamara is there to pass protect and run the rock. It just sets up a good success for Shedeur to have all those weapons around him. Again, you could go Cam Ward if you really wanted to. It's just a personal preference. I just would really like to see Shadeur's arm in New Orleans. Not only that, playing in a dome, it's a great culture around him. I think that he would thrive in New Orleans. Some people might say they want Cam Ward, but I would really like to see Shedeur in New Orleans. Now, getting into the Panthers, it's going to be clear-cut, too, that they're going to get a new quarterback. I don't think they go forward with Bryce Young. I just don't see it happening. I see Bryce Young probably heading out this season in a trade. More than likely going to be one of these teams here that goes after Bryce Young, because we see all the need for quarterback, and not everybody's going to be able to draft a first-round quarterback. Someone has to reach at the end of the day. Panthers aren't going to be that team, though. Right now, they're at the 4 pick, and it just seems like Cam Ward is just going to be the easiest pick to make at this point. And Cam Ward has all the goods to be a QB1, whether it's his poise, his arm, decision-making. Cam Ward can honestly just do it all. Sneaky mobility. He has the ability to really just extend plays. And there's just so much that you can say about Cam Ward. And we'll get into that a little bit later in another video. But we're going to have Cam Ward going at the 4 slot. And Cleveland Browns, they could be a team that is finding a quarterback in free agency. Again, we've seen what happens with them. Jameis Winston probably not getting another year at the helm. Deshaun Watson goes down with an Achilles. So quarterback's also going to be in play. And this could be, again, I don't think Jalen Milroe is a first-round quarterback right now. I just don't think his game is going to translate over to the NFL like some folks do think it will. That's not a knock to him. It's been successful in college football, but I don't think it's going to translate over to the NFL the more that I watch film on Jalen Milroe. But I did say somebody has to reach. And it's more than likely probably going to be the Browns that take Jalen Milroe as their quarterback for the future. And it's not going to be a bad thing for them, because at the end of the day, they need a new quarterback. But it's not going to be the perfect fit for the offense that they have. But that's neither here nor there. There's a chance that they may not even take Jalen Milroe. But for this video and this video's sake, I honestly think if it was in this spot, Cleveland's probably taking Jalen Milroe. We get into the Raiders, and they're going to be pretty disappointed that they didn't get in on the Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward sweepstakes. Again, this is no trade, so there's a chance Raiders do end up trading up a little bit higher so they can get in on Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. For the sake of this, I'm going to go yet again Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders, because it just makes the most sense. Like, you're not going to go forward with Mattinson and Zamir White. Get someone who can come in, help your offense, have it trending upward. And if you can, get a quarterback in free agency. There's going to be some guys. I wouldn't mind seeing Bryce Young in the silver and black. It wouldn't be bad, compared to what they have now. But at the end of the day, with the weapons available, again, you didn't get Shedeur, you didn't get Cam. If you have the ability to get Ashton Jeanty, who I think is well worth a first-round pick, go ahead and make that grab. And getting into the Giants, this is going to be a team that I think reaches for a quarterback, and it's going to kind of mess up the way the draft flows, at least for teams that are in search of a quarterback. I don't think Daniel Jones is going to get another year at the helm of this team. You could go after a tackle if you wanted to, but this fan base will probably be in an uproar if you don't come back with a new quarterback in this year's draft. Now, do you take Carson Beck? Do you take Ewers? Do you take Nussmeier? Maybe Jackson Dart. Again, I've been raving about Jackson Dart. Maybe he takes that rise up. I've seen some people draft Drew Allar in the first round. I don't think he's a first-round talent as well. Jalen Milroe is definitely better than Drew Allar, though, to go in the first round. Just don't think Drew Allar would go in the first. I think in this spot, Giants are still going to be nibbling at Quinn Ewers. Talented quarterback, knows how to distribute the ball to all of his weapons, and the Giants have guys there that can play. I mean, the running game has been looking really well with Tracy Jr. They got some receivers there that are ready to make plays, obviously the biggest one being Malik Neighbors. And Daniel Jones just isn't the option. So just go ahead, get your fan base something to clamor for. Getting into the Miami Dolphins. Tua's back. I know I said he's probably not coming back. I said it like multiple times. Tua's back, though. I got to stop being a hater. Again, if he takes one more concussion, though, more than likely probably it for him. But with that being said, if you're going to go forward and keep Tua in the fray, you're going to go after some protection for him. It's no doubt in my mind. Calvin Banks being available at the 8, no-brainer. Getting into the Tennessee Titans, who I think are probably going to give Will Levis another year. Fans probably aren't going to want to hear that, but he's probably going to get another year. Quarterbacks are just hard to come by, and I can't say that Will Levis has got, I said it last video, we've seen a full sample size, which we have, but has he really had all the weapons at his disposal? I mean, DeAndre Hopkins went over to the Chiefs now. He's not going to have a whole lot of weapons to utilize now. Running game is pretty subpar. I'd give Will Levis one more year. I'm not saying that it's going to be a good year from him, but I'd give him another year to at least see if you can find some flashes. Kind of like a Daniel Jones situation right now with what's going on in New York. You kind of hope that he's well worth the pick that you've spent on him, but definitely not an extension-worthy quarterback. Could be a bridge guy, though. Definitely want to be in the running maybe next year for a quarterback. I just don't think this is Tennessee's year to be in the quarterback run. So that's why we're going to have Tatara McMillan go over to the Tennessee Titans, which gives them a big body weapon, 6'5" McMillan for Will Levis to utilize. Jets, another team. This is honestly where I've had the most trouble really just deciphering what pick they should go with. I mean, defensive line seems like the easiest grab here. But they have guys on that defensive line. Like, realistically, I mean, Hassan Riddick just finally showed up, too, for the edge. They have dudes there that can get the job done. Quarterback is a big question mark simply because you don't know what Aaron Rodgers you're going to get next season. This season we've seen a subpar Aaron Rodgers, to be completely honest with you, slowly getting the ball rolling. But, I mean, you've gone out, you've gotten him some weapons. You went out and got his buddy Devontae Adams. But you're not seeing a whole lot of change realistically. You're not getting playoff hopes or anything like that. So there's a chance that they could run it back with Aaron Rodgers. Maybe they just say, to hell with it, let's get our money's worth. And again, they could be another team that's just in the running for a quarterback next season. There's going to be guys going as well. This isn't a super talented quarterback class, to be completely honest with you. Outside of, I'll even include Milroe. Outside of the top 3 quarterbacks, it's kind of iffy to really say if they can turn your franchise around or not. I think at this point, you're kind of just taking best available. So in this case, it would be Mason Graham at the defensive line. We'll see how he fits in that scheme, but him and Quinnen Williams would be absolutely nasty on the line together. And we get into them boys, the Cowboys, and this is a no-brainer for me. The run game has been absolutely atrocious for the Cowboys. They can't get anything going, and it's between Caleb Johnson and Omarion Hampton right now for who the RB2 is. And a lot of the hype right now going to Omarion Hampton. But I think Caleb Johnson needs a lot more love than what he's getting right now, which is why, again, I'm going to take Caleb Johnson this early. Well worth it, though. If you watch the tape, watch his production value that he's giving Iowa right now. He can come into Dallas, be an RB1, and be an immediate cowbell back for this offense and probably help out the run game immediately. And not just that, open up the pass game. Dak just went down with an injury, so more than likely the Cowboys pick is probably going to get a little bit higher, but they still need to be going after a running back in this year's draft, no doubt in my mind. Now, getting into the Colts, this is another no-brainer. The secondary for the Colts stinks. Like, you need to be looking at a cornerback and you need to be looking at a safety. Malachi Stark's there, but Will Johnson being there, there's no way you pass up on the best cornerback in this year's draft class. He slipped. It seems like we kept it really offensive heavy in the early rounds, in the early top 11 picks. Will Johnson slipped to 12. It's not something that we haven't seen before. We've seen cornerbacks slip prior in a couple drafts recently as well. But Will Johnson being at 12 is kind of a gift to the Indianapolis Colts, who need help immediately in that secondary. Like, it's just absolutely atrocious. I don't think they're getting anything done. Safeties as well. They can definitely be dipping into the safeties a little bit later into this draft class. Getting into the Bengals, pick 13, wide receiver is always a need, and I just don't get it. Like, I know T. Higgins is going to be on his way out, but there's some guys there that need some opportunities. Like Burton, I think, is going to be a talented wide receiver too for them once they do get T. Higgins out of there. And they still have tight ends, again, that are huge weapons for them. So I don't think wide receiver is really going to be a big need. I think defensive line is kind of where you got to put your focus on, simply because Trey Hendrickson right now leads the league in sacks. Get him some help out there. Get him, some guys that can be his running mates. Kenneth Grant, we got Michigan guys going 10, 12, and 13. Kenneth Grant has all the goods to be an immediate impact player for the Bengals defense. Getting into Seattle, and this again is a no-brainer. I've talked about it in multiple videos. The right side of the line for the Seahawks is absolutely, it just stinks. So no-brainer here. You want to get someone that's going to give you that versatility of guard and tackle. You could be looking someone at Arante Ursary, Emory Jones, who I've raved about in several videos, could be in play here. I'm going to go Arante Ursary simply because, like I said, they just need someone that's going to make an impact for them on the line most pressures given up by the right guard and right tackle in the NFL still, by the way. So definitely get them some help on the offensive line. Getting into the Rams, and Rams have actually been a little bit of a resurgence now that, some of their players are back from injury. Again, earlier in some of my earlier mock drafts, it was looking a little bit different. I would definitely go out and get a tackle. I would go out and get Matt Stafford some more protection. Kyren Williams has been killing it in the run game. Why not help out your offense for, again, Matt Stafford doesn't have a whole lot of time left. I think he has about 2 to 3 seasons of solid, good football left in him. And why not preserve those years by getting him some protection? Tampa Bay Bucks on the clock here, and this is a no-brainer. Get Nick Scorton, get yourself an edge. Vita Vea's not getting any younger. Make sure your defensive line stays beefed up, and that's just all I got to say for that one. I know it could be a cornerback there with Siobhan Ravel still on the board. You still got guys like Benjamin Morrison on the board, Denzel Burke, but I think you got to get Nick Scorton there. I think you got to get yourself just some more beef in the trenches because you can never go wrong with helping out your trenches. And speaking of that, getting into the Niners, they need some help in the trenches as well. Again, this could be a team that goes for a guy that gives you that versatility. A guy like Emory Jones from LSU can play guard, can play tackle, gives you that option. And the Niners definitely need to take care of their quarterback. They're going to more than likely pay Brock Purdy at the end of this season. They still got CMC. Keep him protected as he's coming off that nasty injury. Jordan Mason had a hell of a year before he went down with injury as well. I think you got to get them some protection for sure. Getting into the Bears, another team that needs to protect their franchise. Caleb Williams needs to be able to have some time in the pocket. And he has all the weapons already. There's no question about it. But get him some time in the pocket. Get some guys that can also help out DeAndre Swift in the run game. And I'm slowly starting to get, a feel for some of these tackles and some of these guards in this draft class as I deep dive into more of this film. I like keep my ear towards the grapevine, as I like to call it, for all my guys that are in the trenches, and they relay me some info about these guys. But Josh Simmons is another one of these tackles that gives you the option of just brute force, just a freak of nature type tackle. 6'5", 310, and he moves quick off the line. A lot of people rave his pass protection, so Caleb Williams is going to love having a guy like Josh Simmons. And again, Bears need to just go ahead and protect their franchise. It just seems like the easiest option to do at this point. Getting into the Broncos, and I'm going to be honest, the Broncos need another option for Bo Nix. I think Sutton's had a great year, but the other wide receivers around Sutton just have not been as good. Bo Nix has played really, really well. I honestly didn't think he was going to play this well at the NFL level, but he has. And let's get him another weapon. Let's get him a guy like Luther Burden. A slot wide receiver could do them wonders. Put Sutton at the X. And you get that option to have Luther Burden as a playmaker for your offense. Run game is so-so, but I think they have it pretty figured out well enough to where they can get a wide receiver here and just get Bo Nix another option to throw to. Getting into the Cardinals, I think this is where we start seeing a little bit more of the defensive players start sliding down the board here. Not sliding down, I should say, but coming off the board. First linebacker going to come off the board could go to the Cardinals, and it's going to be Jahad Campbell out of Alabama. Probably now that, Harold Perkins is injured, Jahad Campbell's probably my favorite linebacker prospect right now. I was raving about Perkins, but that injury, we're going to see him slide down draft boards. That's just the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. I still think Harold Perkins is well worth a first-round pick, even coming off the injury. But Jahad Campbell right now, putting together probably the best linebacker tape in the nation. Getting into the Chargers, and this is going to be a no-brainer. I think they're going to grab a tight end, and it's going to be Colston Loveland. Harbaugh's going to get a Michigan guy. He's going to make sure that all his Michigan players are taken care of. And Colston Loveland is going to be an exceptional fit for the Chargers. A nice vertical target. He blocks extremely well and going to be a good fit for the Chargers offense. Getting into the Falcons, again, they should have did this last season. They shouldn't have taken Penix in the first round. I really think they should have taken an edge rusher. I think they should have taken someone for the defensive line. Still, we're going to do that here for them now with LT Overton at the edge. They need defensive line. They need linebacker. Why not get you someone that gets you that versatility? You can take LT Overton. I always have been raving about Abdul Carter, who gives you a lot of versatility as well from Penn State. He's putting together a great tape. But for the sake of this mock, we're going to go with LT Overton. and we get into the Packers, and I'm pretty sure Packers are going to have to look at the offensive line here as well. Jordan Love is just dealing with a lot of lingering injuries this season, and it's going to be very hard to ignore considering you paid him. So you kind of want to get somebody that's going to take care of your franchise quarterback, and that's kind of been an ongoing theme here for this mock draft at least. And you're kind of left with what I would call slim pickings in the first round for some of these tackles. I've watched a little bit of tape on Wyatt Millum, not so much on the rest of these tackles. You could also look at corner, but do you want to take, I mean, you got good corners still available. If we really take a look, Benjamin Morrison, Shavon Ravel, Denzel Burke. Jair Alexander, is he going to be there another year? We don't know with all the stuff going on, media-wise and stuff with him. So you could take a corner here. You could take a tackle. Again, with the slim pickings at tackle, I think we're probably just going to look at corner here. And I'm going to be honest, there's going to be... It's hard because Shavon Ravel's injured too, and I really like what he brings to the table tape-wise. But that injury is going to ruin his draft stock, unfortunately. I mean, I wouldn't say ruin, but it's going to plummet it just a bit. So I think at this point, tape-wise, I would take Benjamin Morrison at cornerback. Get a guy that you at least know can replace Jair as the CB1. You have talented safeties to rely on as well. So why not take a chance with a corner that can definitely be a potential island for you? Get into the flock. And this is going to be another team that has to start looking at corners because I think Humphrey's going to be on a slow decline pretty soon. You could take Denzel Burke, you could take Shavon Ravel. Burke having a good year again. I think that injury is going to take or play a part in Shavon Ravel's draft stock. I still think he has first round goods. He was probably going to be, a top 5 CB for me in this draft class, but that injury just unfortunately so early in the season, a lot of people are going to take into account for that. They're going to wonder, well, can he come back from it? Is he going to play the exact same? So it's definitely something you got to take into account for. Getting into the Texans, again, another clear-cut team that needs to help out their run game. Mixon not getting any younger. The Dameon Pierce experience is over. Get yourself a guy like Omarion Hampton who can make an immediate impact. Even if he has to sit a year behind Mixon or split carries, you're still getting a guy that has a lot of energy, shoots out of a rocket when he comes from the backfield, and he has some of the best contact balance, if not the best contact balance in this year's draft class. Getting into the Eagles, this is probably where we see another edge rusher come off the board, and it's going to be Abdul Carter. Could potentially be the first edge rusher off the board in this year's draft class with the tape that he's putting together. But I just had a couple guys go above him. I like Nick Scorton's tape. Again, LT Overton just gives you a little bit of versatility. Abdul Carter obviously also offers that. Just the way this mock draft kind of went. Getting into the Steelers, this is going to be another team that I think needs to grab a weapon seriously because Pickens, it's kind of just Pickens, realistically. I don't think Austin's going to be there for another year. I mean, he might be there for another year as a wide receiver 3, but I don't think he's there as the 2. Get yourself a guy like Emeka Egbuka. Get someone that can be a playmaker next to Pickens. Russell Wilson, having a little bit of a resurgence with the Steelers, to be completely honest. He's playing some great football right now. I was being a hater early, but he's playing great football. You also got Justin Fields waiting in the wings, so you want to have those weapons available for your guys. Why not get a guy like Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State? We're getting into the Vikings, and like I said, we still could see Shavon Ravel go in the first round. There's no doubt in my mind. He has a tremendous tape. I think he plays great football. The injury is going to be the only thing that they really have against him. I don't put, playing at East Carolina against him. At the end of the day, if you can play corner, you can play corner. Your tape is going to speak for itself. And Shavon Ravel's tape, it speaks for itself. Running back was a need here. I don't think there's another running back that I would take in the first round right now just based off the productivity. If you want to take RJ Harvey, I completely understand. Ollie Gordon had a little bit of a decline this year. Quinshon Judkins has to split carries, so it's honestly 50-50 as to where Quinshon Judkins can really land. But he could have that, ability like Jahmyr Gibbs does where he comes in still fresh legs and stuff like that. And he just absolutely just tears it up on offense and just makes an immediate impact. So definitely a couple guys that could have went right there at that pick, but I would rather take Shavon Ravel instead of one of these running backs. And we get into the Commanders, who they're having a great year as well. They're going to be pretty sad that they didn't get in on at least the top 3 cornerbacks because that's really where they need the most help. But nonetheless, they still can get in, the runnings for some of these top safeties, especially like Malachi Starks, who is ranked 6th in terms of prospects, but fell all the way to 29. I actually had in a couple mock drafts Malachi going in the top 15. So the fact that he's dropped to 29 this one definitely tells us where we're at in terms of mock drafts. But like I said, Commanders definitely need some help in the secondary. Malachi Starks can give you that big boost. And we get into the Buffalo Bills, and we could see another linebacker come off the board here. I still think Harold Perkins has that first-round goods. Danny Stutzman, also good for it. But I'm going to take Harold Perkins. I'm a big OU guy, too. You guys know that I'm a big OU guy, but I think Harold Perkins just offers that versatility in zone coverage, and he's great at run stopping. He's going to come off. He's going to bounce back from that injury, and he's going to play extremely well at the next level. Mark my words. And we're getting into the last 2 picks, getting into the Lions. And I'm going to be honest, these last 2 picks, it's really hard to decipher where they could use help at. Edge being a need for them is a little interesting because again, they have great defensive linemen, but I guess you could just never have too much beef in the trenches at the end of the day. I love Jack Sawyer's game. I've caught a couple of Ohio State games, and Jack Sawyer is an automatic offensive disruptor. Got to take account for him, and I think he's well worth a first-round pick as well. And we're getting into the last pick, and I still don't think running back is a need for the Chiefs. I think Isaiah Pacheco is going to be completely fine when he comes back. But with that being said, you could look at some of these tackles. You could also look at some of these guards as well. And may potentially find someone that can help you beef up the offensive line. If not, there's tight ends here that I would take in the first round to be the predecessor for Travis Kelce. I would take Tyler Warren, or I would take Harold Fannin Jr. in the first round because their production this year is off the charts. Harold Fannin is top 5 in receiving yards, and Tyler Warren has universally played wide receiver, running back, tight end, fullback, quarterback probably at some point. Tyler Warren's pretty much done it all, and they're 2 guys that I would take in the first round without a doubt. And for the sake of this draft, to have some fun, I'm going to take my guy from Bowling Green, Harold Fannin Jr. Again, top 5 in the nation right now in receiving yards. It's hard to deny, a talented tight end like Harold Fannin Jr. So there you have it. That is today's mock draft. So there you have it. That is Mock Draft Monday for this week. Again, we're going to start getting into some of these divisional mock drafts. So let me know in the comments below what division you guys think I should tackle first. Be sure to tune in next video. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe button, and comment a couple words if you think I'm missing some of these players. If some guys just went too high, some guys are too low, again, feel free to let me know. I'll see you guys next video. Peace.